So even in this the so-called condensed part of the Yoga Vasishta, this mixture between orthodox understanding, limited understanding, and wisdom. And this is what we're getting here in this last part, which is the 7 states of yoga. It's as if these states have been well described, these stages have been well described by somebody with true understanding, and then somebody with lesser understanding has embedded this wisdom into a more conventional perspective. And that was certainly the case with the previous paragraph, which described the 3rd stage. And the paragraph before that, which described the 2nd stage, is known as Vichara. It didn't describe Vichara, it just described conventional practice. Vichara is nothing to do with concentration and meditation, company of learned men, or even the study of scriptures. Vichara, self-inquiry, is actually self-realisation. And this is all summed up quite nicely in this next paragraph, which seems to be an unadulterated voice. The 1st stage, right resolve, subeccha, arises almost accidentally. Well, I think we can say accidentally. There's no doubt about it, it's accidental. And this is confirmed here, like the ripe coconut falling when the crow alights on it. But we're told it's through righteous actions. Well, how can it be almost accidental? There's an unwillingness here to acknowledge what really happens. You can have a flash of insight at any time. It's not dependent on anything. It's not dependent on past practices. It's not dependent on what you did in another life. It's something which happens. We then make a story about it, as when the crow alights on the coconut palm at the same moment the coconut is falling, and we then say the coconut fell because the crow came on the tree. It didn't. This should be carefully protected and nourished. And this is the 2nd stage. Then the 2nd stage, or Vichara, self-inquiry, arises. This should be well cultivated like a garden. It is by intense effort that it is possible to enter into the 3rd stage. When one is well established in the 3rd stage, then he is freed from concepts or mental images. The ignorant man in whom evil is firmly rooted takes birth repeatedly till the 1st stage, right resolve, arises in him. So it's the ignorant man. Until the ignorant person decides that they've had enough of the same old routine, then they'll carry on. When they have decided they've had enough, they can become a spiritual seeker. Or they might not even be a spiritual seeker. They might suddenly have a realization of something greater than everything else they've believed. Or he will accidentally find holy company, like the coconut falling when the crow alights on it, or dispassion might arise in him by the very experiences he undergoes in his life. So he can become a spiritual seeker, or he can become a spiritual practitioner. When dispassion or disinterestedness in the pursuit of pleasure arises in one's heart, then naturally the 1st stage, right resolve, is reached, and subsequently by stages he crosses this ocean of samsara. Such is a firm declaration of the scriptures. While ascending these 7 stages of yoga, all his sins and sinful tendencies are destroyed. This description of crossing the ocean of samsara, it's a very traditional one. It's used by the Buddhists as well. The raft of the Dharma. It's as if you're going somewhere, but it's not like that at all. You already have a rope to the other shore. It's just a question of pulling on that rope. You are attached to the other shore. You can either pull on that rope or be buffeted around by the river or by the ocean of samsara. So we're not crossing on a raft. We're hauling ourselves in by a rope. That's the choice we've got. And the more we haul ourselves in on that rope, the more established we become, the closer we are. The more we're focused on where that rope is attached to, the further established in realization we're going to be. So we begin with realization. We begin by being established in our true awareness. Otherwise, we're a spiritual seeker, and you are in this raft, and you're going to be buffeted all over the place. And there's absolutely no guarantee that that raft is going to take you anywhere. You could end up in some foreign, distant land altogether. So we must make this distinction between being a spiritual seeker and a spiritual practitioner. The spiritual seeker is the one that's in the raft, paddling here and there. The spiritual practitioner has stumbled upon the rope and has begun hauling himself to the shore.